set up. And Yaro, if you're still on here, this one is for you. This is what we are using at our open houses to capture registrations with some pretty simple forms, and it goes right into command for you. Do you guys want to see that page?
Yes, please.
All right, excellent. So back to these sites. So we're back in the site, same page. You're going to go to create a new site as a standalone page. Go ahead and hit create. I would pull in branded header and lead form. So if you wanted to customize this for every property, you absolutely could. We're going with, for right now at least, just a single, each agent having their own sign-in sheet, sign-in form online. So we're not pulling in the listing. You certainly could, because what we're doing with this is we're having an iPad or something at the open house and asking, literally giving them the iPad or asking them the 5 questions that it has on it. So once you have those 2 widgets in there, you go ahead and do what we did before. You're going to do configure widgets, branded header, something that you want to put on there, open house sign in, thanks for stopping by. Again, you can edit the image, you can edit that stuff up there, save and apply. And then you're going to go to your second widget, which is going to be your lead form. So this is what we really love on this form. So if you're going to hand this to the consumer or have it on like the counter there and you're going to ask them to sign in themselves, you can customize this to anything you want. What we're using in here . So we have it saying, hey, thanks for coming today. If you're working with an agent, please put their name in the notes section. And then if someone does sign in, let's say you're hosting an open house for Brittany. Brittany, I'm sure, would appreciate the fact that she knew which agents had their buyers come by so that she can follow up with anybody's agents. And then you could potentially work with the buyers who were unrepresented that came through. So this is one of the things that we're using to capture that information. And then my belief is if they're at the open house and they say they're working with an agent and they can't tell you who their agent is, then they're not working with an agent. So if they can't fill out that section for you, my guess is they don't really have an agency agreement. So we use that as our, go ahead and hit publish page. So now you can see we have the open house sign-in sheet. We'll go ahead and change URL. Go ahead and create. And then you can use this at your open house to capture traffic that comes in. So one of the reasons why I love this so much, and I will show you here, is that once it's completed, it flows right into command for you. So there's a simple 5 questions there. So it doesn't go into like how long have you been looking? Are you pre-approved? All that kind of stuff. The goal and I'm sure that customization will be here in the future, but right now it's just a generic contact form. So all the questions that anybody really wants to answer anyway, and go ahead and check off I'm not a robot. That's where that send now pops up. Go ahead and hit send. And Another thing that I love about this form here, as soon as they hit send, it refreshes and just leaves it back to where it was. So one of the things I've used other sign-in sheets before, like open house sign-in sheets online. And once they hit submit, it would pull up another window. You'd have to go back to that computer, refresh that page to get it back to here. This goes right back to where it was before. So the next person can come in and start signing up. Now, the cool part is now, if I were to go back to Philip's home screen here, and I don't know if you guys have messed around with this as of yet, but this is just a non-agent site training thing, but you can now customize your home page on command. So you can customize your home page, and they actually now have so all the stuff that's bigger boxes has to be on the left. The stuff that's smaller boxes can be on the right. And you can drag and drop around, go ahead and hit apply. And now you can see John Sample just showed up already in Mr. Phillips' database. So he's in a couple different places. So this is, again, not really agent sites training, but you can click on that and that's going to bring you right to John Sample's profile. So John Sample shows up in here. He shows up as a lead. You can see that the note is John Smith. So John Sample is working with John Smith as an agent. Once I've identified that back to maybe it's a host of the open house or the listing agent, probably going to go ahead and archive that contact. But let's say he's not working with John Smith and he wants to be followed up, or you want to follow up with him. The next thing you can do from there is to add him to a smart plan, and that will start your smart plan if you either customize your smart plan to a follow-up action plan, because we all know that is where the money is, in that follow-up. It's not just having a great conversation with them at the open house, it's the follow-up that's important. So if you haven't configured your smart plans, but you can go a couple different ways to add that here. So we're going to say add to smart plan. Now my guess is he hasn't set his up yet, so no, he hasn't. So we're going to go, in this case, we're going to go to Phil's smart plan. And if you haven't added the smart plans to your smart plans, you go over here to library. And you'll see one of the ones there is open house follow-up. If you wanted to see what their follow-up steps are, you can go ahead and down arrow that, and that'll show what the actual process that the plan is going to do. If you don't like that follow-up plan, you can edit it and create your own. But for today, we're just going to hit add smart plan. In the future, there will be triggers that manually make this, that automatically make this happen. Right now, it is a manual add. So you go ahead and hit apply. And now, under Mr. Phil Smart Plans, should show up my open house smart plan, follow plan. So we're going to go back home to Phil's home. And we now see John Sample. Go back into that. And you also, I don't know if you guys caught this at all, but it does have the source of that person there. So it came from a KW landing page. I am also sure it will eventually show what KW landing page that was. But a couple different ways you can add that smart plan. So you go in here and add to smart plan. Go ahead and my open house follow-up, hit select. You can choose to start it immediately or on a following date. One thing they recently added, so let's say you wanted to add, you had a great open house, you had one of those awesome open houses that Yara likes to have, and you got 10, 15 people at the open house who registered, you're done, you wanna go back and add everybody to smart plan, you can now add, if there were multiple people that I was selecting, there's now a third option, which is to stagger the start of those. So rather than having, let's say you add 37 people to a smart plan, rather than having all of those tasks show up on the same day for you, they now have the ability to stagger those. But for this, we're just going to start immediately. Go ahead and hit confirm. It's going to show you what that follow-up plan is. In this case, the default one is a 21-day follow-up plan. Go ahead and hit confirm. And now Mr. John Sample has been added to that smart plan. Now, if you wanted to archive Mr. John Sample, because he is working with someone, you just go up here and hit archive, and then hit archive again, and it will archive that person once you've communicated that agent information back to the listing agent. So that's creating an open house sign-in sheet. What questions do you have on that? Or Yaro, did that answer that challenge you were having with the other form?
Yeah, it did, and I just followed you with it, and it pulled it in, and it has the select, so that's perfect.
Awesome. Even on Echo, I could get most of that. What other questions, comments, concerns?
I like how the leads feed directly into the contacts right away.
Yeah,
from an open house.
And they do show there is a different, you know, if you don't have this widget set up, or if you don't have your homepage set up yet with this recent leads, another way that you could find them, because I know there has been some confusion around this. If you go to your contacts and you hit filters.
Okay.
And you do lead only. Go ahead and hit apply.